Jalen Hurts, when the lights are bright, when the team is down, when they need him, this guy is going to show up.
Philadelphia Eagles, 10-1, just won another big game. And Jalen Hurts just seems to be cool, calm, and collected no matter the situation, no matter how bad he might have played in the first half. It does not matter. The Eagles have one of the best quarterbacks in the entire league when it matters the most. And I guess I ask you guys this. Are the Eagles your Super Bowl favorites at the current moment? And are they pretty much like the heavy favorites? I guess I'll ask that question. Are they the heavy Super Bowl favorites?
I'll start it off here. I wouldn't say they're the heavy Super Bowl favorites because actually they play the Niners this week at home and they're not favored in that matchup, which is kind of crazy. They're like plus 140 something when I saw it earlier.
You said at home?
I'm pretty sure they're at home. Yeah, let me double check. But it's funny. The narrative around the Eagles is so funny to me because we say it all the time, and it's how people say, "Oh, they haven't even played their best football yet. They haven't even played their best football yet." And maybe that's true, but maybe they have. We've kind of seen on the year that offenses as a whole have been kind of lacking, quarterback play in particular, and defenses have been really good, I think, in particular. So maybe this is the Eagles, maybe, and they look like the best team in the league, without a doubt. They're also they're one of the top teams that are actually beating good teams too.
Yep.
And pulling out good victories. Josh Allen's just cursed in overtime. So, you get that guy in overtime. That's a guaranteed W. Doesn't matter who you are. But the Eagles are, I think, who we wanted them to be coming into the year. I mean, they got to be statistically Super Bowl favorites. I'd say if I had to pick a team to win it all right now, I'd probably pick the Eagles, yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's no reason why they shouldn't be the runaway favorites right now. I mean, you look at their last 5 games. They beat Miami convincingly. Beat Washington. No one really cares about Washington. But you beat Dallas. You went to Kansas City, got your get back, and beat the Chiefs. And then you just beat the Bills in what was the game of the year. And the thing about the Eagles is you look back to last year, they dominated in the regular season. Would they lose only 2 games last year, if I'm not mistaken? They lost 2 games last year in the regular season. The thing about the Eagles, the pushback was they have a Mickey Mouse schedule. Look at the rest of the NFC East. The Cowboys had an easy schedule. The Giants made the playoffs on the back of their easy schedule, and the Commanders won 7 games because of that easy schedule. Then you look at the first few weeks of this season, you beat the Patriots, one of the worst teams in football, beat the Vikings, who aren't really good, beat the Buccaneers, who aren't good, beat the Commanders, who aren't really good, beat the Rams, who aren't really good. And the Eagles didn't look great. The first game against Washington went to OT. That game against the Vikings in week 2 was a touchdown game. You only beat New England by 5. They weren't playing their best football. They weren't really beating up on anyone who was, towards the top of the league. So there was a reason to have pushback. And Jalen Hurts didn't look like himself. But then over this last 5-game stretch, it's kind of similar where in regards to they don't look that dominant for most of the game. They're not dominating anyone. But when the going gets tough, they find a way to win. And over this last 5 games, they've proven that against some of the elite of the NFL. So I don't really know what other questions to have about the Eagles. I mean, I have this stat. Jalen Hurts this season, when his team is winning, has a 62.5 completion percentage, 1,130 yards, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and a 65.9 rating. When they're losing, his completion percentage goes up about 9% to 71%. He has 1,977 yards, so almost 800 more yards when they're losing. 22 touchdowns, which is 15 more. 1 interception compared to 9, and a 114.1 rating. So Jalen Hurts, I mean, we talked about one guy who doesn't show up when the lights are bright. Jalen Hurts, when the lights are bright, when the team is down, when they need him, this guy is going to show up. And we saw that in this game against the Bills. Got shut out for most of the first half. They only put 1 touchdown on the board. And then he goes nuclear in the second half. And it wasn't just him being a tush-push merchant and getting carried by the offensive line. Jalen Hurts was going out there and making plays. He was throwing good balls. Devontae Smith was eating. And, I mean, even in this game towards, in the last drive in the fourth quarter, Jason Kelce got what? 2 false start penalties?
Back-to-back false starts.
So it's not like the offensive line was carrying him, but when the going gets tough and the Eagles need someone to make a play, Jalen Hurts is going to make a play. And honestly, there's maybe one quarterback in the NFL right now that I'm taking over Jalen Hurts when I need someone to go out there and make a play. He keeps proving it time and time again, dating back to his college days. Goodbye, Luka.
Jinx.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles should be the runaway favorites right now. They're showing they can win in different ways. They're beating you through the air. They're beating you on the ground. They're beating you with their defense, which their defense hasn't hit its stride yet and hasn't been healthy. You got to expect the Philadelphia Eagles, when things get serious come playoff time, that defense is going to, stiffen up. So, yeah, I mean, the Eagles are the class of the NFL right now, and they should be the runaway favorites.
Yeah, their defense, I have some numbers here. They rank 20th in opponent points per game, 30th in third down conversion percentage. They also get flagged a lot. The offense does. I mean, they are 6th in penalties per game with 5.3. The defense is 3rd with 7.2. So you want to clean that stuff up because in the playoffs, when it's one and done, that can really come back to bite you. But stuff like Jason Kelce getting back-to-back false starts, I don't think he's ever done that in his career. If he has, it hasn't been for a very long time. You have to think he may never do it again. I feel like just by the eye test, the secondary's gotten better over the season. They've also gotten healthier.
They were very beat up.
Bradbury looked good in this game.
Bradbury did have a solid game.
Yeah, he was having a good game. But yeah, I agree. The Eagles are the class of the NFL. They're the team to beat right now.
So, for me, Jalen Hurts is just first and foremost unbelievable. That boy is so special, and we're gonna have to deal with him for years on years.
Yeah,
which is fun as a Giant fan.
Dude.
Very excited. He's also a handsome dude, might I add. Sure. He is a very good looking human being. Squats 600 pounds. Like what, bro? Jalen Hurts is flawless.
Did you see? I saw an interview with Quinnen Williams, and he said when he first saw Jalen Hurts, he was in the weight room and he thought he was a linebacker. Because he was just squatting like crazy, and then he gets out there and he's throwing the ball, and he's like, "Oh, why is this guy throwing the ball before practice?"
Bro,
and then he started taking QB reps. He's like, "No way, this kid's a quarterback."
He's like actually built like a fucking truck.
Yeah.
Like as a quarterback, nonetheless. But it's Jalen Hurts, of course. He played this game without Lane Johnson, like who is, you could argue, one of the greatest right tackles of all time. You can even say, and he's still a baller. So. Yeah. That's a big loss. It was obvious that the right side of the line was getting dominated for much of this game too, but Hurts, overcame it. And I'm not going to act like he doesn't have a strong supporting cast outside of that. He does, obviously. But this was a game that required him to play his absolute best in the second half because he played his absolute worst in the first, and then he did so. And it just seems like there's nothing, absolutely nothing that could rattle this guy. Like a lot of people have fake confidence. It's a thing. Like there's fake confidence, especially with some of these quarterbacks out there. Yeah. You'll see fake confidence. Jalen Hurts is a quiet confidence that like near terrifies me. Like if he gets the ball with the game on the line, everyone on that team believes, oh, okay, we're gonna win. Like it's over. They were mic'd up and they were like, oh, we got Hurts. Like we're fine. Yeah. Like all we got to do is get this thing in overtime, get the defense, just hold them to a field goal, whatever. We got Hurts, so we're good.
Yeah.
And then he goes down, runs one in. It's special to see what he's become, especially with everything that he had to go through in college, how Tua took over the job from him, and then he transfers to Oklahoma, Heisman candidate, second-round pick, and wasn't even starting his first season. I think he started like 8 games maybe, whatever it was. But then he turned into a superstar, and here he is. But, he's special. Hurts is different. And this Philly team, because of him and a defense that's only going to get better, a pass rush that is the best in the NFL, if not the second best in the NFL. Man, the Eagles are terrifying. And Hurts at the helm, bro. Nah, it's not fair. He's
on a mission too. Everyone's seeing that he has the lock screen of the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl or whatever. But like the guy is dedicated, and
he's the hardest worker on the team.
Yeah, he's the hardest worker on the team, and he is clearly talented enough to get this done. And the tandem threat of him being able to run the football as well, so like timely. Like he does it.
He's playing injured, might I add.
Yeah, exactly. He's he does it when he really needs to, like when they really need him to make a play, like he did on the game-winning touchdown. Yeah, he's special, man, for sure. And this Eagles team is just they're
Class of the NFL.
Yeah,
This is going to be a telling week right now.
Yeah.
This is a very telling week.
Yeah, against the 49ers.
For both of these teams.
Oh,
for both of these
they're
teams.
plus 126 at home.
Okay, that's crazy.
Which, take that. It's free money.
That's nuts. I don't guarantee that.
No,
I
not
would
free money,
potentially
so-
take whatever the spread is. I would potentially take that. But all in all, I mean, I think you guys have seen the interview that surfaced recently from him prior to the draft. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Where they were like, "You're about to go to the NFL," and they're like, you're not going to win as much as you did in college," and he straight up said, "Oh, we'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see." Like Stoneface said, "Oh, we'll see." And I mean, he's 30 and 4.
I was gonna say it's 4 losses.
He's
as a
like
starter.
30 and 4 as a starter in the NFL, which is
Yeah,
pretty much his college record. So all he is a winner. It's just it's that simple. Jalen Hurts is a winner, and the Eagles are lucky to have him.
I just hate when people are like, "Oh, well, he's the best offensive line in football." Like, why does him having a good supporting cast take away from what he does?
They have the best
Like-
GM in the NFL.
Right.
Like he did his job.
Like that just doesn't make sense to me because that's what you need to do to get the best out of a superstar player
Yes.
in any sport, but in football with a quarterback, you have to put great talent around him, and the telling of how great a player is how he elevates that talent, and Hurts definitely does that.
Facts. AJ Brown wasn't as good as he was until he met Jalen Hurts. So
He was really good, but I mean, he's one of the top receivers in the league without question for sure.
exactly.
What a
So
game, man. Shout out to Jake Elliott.
It really
Bro,
was a great game.
Jake
Yeah.
Elliott, the most clutch kicker of all time, bro.
That's another thing, bro.
Can
Like
you hand me that,
that is-
hoodie? I'm cold now.
such a weapon when you have a kicker that is automatic, especially in the clutch. Never missed a kick in the playoffs, I believe. They said on
I
the
have no
broadcast.
idea.
I think that's
But if
true.
that's
He's never
true, I
missed
wouldn't be
a
surprised
kick in the
if he
playoffs,
does.
something like that. Without a doubt, one of the most clutch kickers of all time, like you said. And yeah, that's a true weapon to have. And yeah, they're just head to toe complete.
Do you remember when Jake Elliott nailed a 63-yarder against us?
Yep.
Or I think it was a 63-yarder to win the game like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Bro,
Jeez,
I know firsthand
really
Jake Elliott is him. Jake Elliott is so him.
Yeah.
But yeah,